Hello, I'm Arion Light, founder of The Art of Living Awake, creator of the Creative Mastery Program, and author of heaps of books on living and creating from the heart. My commitment is that creative impulse inside us to share ourselves, to share our heart, actually fulfills on its callings to create. So many of us have that calling to create, that want to make a difference or to share ourselves, and that calling gets stopped or watered down, and we don't get to experience ourselves as the full, juicy, expressive, creative being that we are. And very importantly, those we're called to serve don't get the gifts and the joy that's in our heart to be shared. And so my work, and I'm really glad I've found you for this moment in the hope that I can serve this blossoming in you, is to help that heart know its creative power. For me, creating from the heart is this dynamic tension between the feminine aspect of creation, which is the stillness and the beauty and the resting into beingness that is the creative truth of who we are. And so it's a tension with that stillness, that beauty of the heart, with the creative impulse of the heart, that which arises from the stillness, the calling to give back, to make a difference, to share ourselves with the world. And what I've found is there's a lot of challenges to this creative life force, especially in our modern spirituality. There often is a focus on the stillness and the beingness, and a dismissing of the masculine creative urge inside us as ego. And yes, certainly the creative urge is very easily corrupted by the ego and corrupted by separation and greed and need and all those things. But at its very essence, the creative force within us is the divine masculine. It's the beauty of being a human being who can choose to create. And so my work, my passion, is about uniting the creative stillness with the dynamic creativity that allows real beauty to be born in the world through us. You know, we have so much creative potential in us that's just waiting to be born. So that's what living and creating from the heart is for me, to rest into the stillness and the beauty, to know in this moment I am the glorious beauty of life. And whoa, look what's coming, here's this creative offering, and to know and learn how to follow that with a fierceness and a determination of the world's best warriors. So there's a few challenges to this creative fire in us, and these are the challenges I've found are the most common sort of afflictions that get in the way of us creating from our heart. And the first one is very simply inaction, creative sort of procrastination. And especially in spiritual types, it comes from an identification with spirit, with God, as the still aspect of creation, of the peaceful aspect of creation. And there's a dismissing of that creative movement, and it forms sort of a spiritual stagnancy in our being. And it's, I think, one of the real sort of afflictions in our society is that the creativity is taken over by the ego, and the spirituality is taken over by the soul. But it's time for a union of the beauty of the stillness with the dynamic power of the creation anchored and connected to that still heart. We all know how damaging that creative impulse is not connected to the heart. But we also know how damaging the still heart is that doesn't have the creative impulse to share. Because there's so many of us out there who know a lot about love and peace and beauty and truth, and yet have built a spirituality that almost stops them really sharing and engaging with the world and making a really positive offering to the collective humanity. And so my work is to crack open those shells we've put around our the flow of our heart and get it into the world. And the courses I run, the books I write, are really around that engaging of the masculine creative force from an alive, vibrant, beautiful heart. The other real key challenge to this living and creating from the heart is that's what I call soulless action, where a whole lot of our life, it might be our work or raising our kids or whatever it is, becomes separate from our devotion, from our heart. And we find this all too often in our careers, in any sort of routine in life. There's a certain numbness that can come over us, and we lose the spiritual fire that it is each day to be a creative being. And so living and creating from the heart is the capacity to know the rich beauty of who we are beyond the mind, beyond the illusions, and allow it to be the creative force that shapes our careers, our families, our bodies, our whole being. So let me share a couple of the key shifts that we have to move this consciousness from the I-centered creation to the heart-centered creation. So the first shift is what I call from the creator to the vessel. And that I am a creator is the belief that life is up to me, that I am in charge of my own life effectively, and that what I can achieve or not achieve is based on who I believe myself to be. And if I work hard enough on myself and change my beliefs and do enough work, maybe I can be a better person and make a difference. And so that's the model of I'm a creator. The model of I'm a vessel is the embodiment of the truth that I am a container for a glorious force so magnificent that words could never ever describe it, and that's my job, is to surrender on a cellular structure to that creative force. And so that shift from believing I am the one to my job is to simply surrender and let that force, whatever you call it, God, passion, soul, spirit, love, to let that have its way with me and be the creative force in life. The second shift is really around what I believe my purpose of life is. And that the old consciousness very much understands the purpose of life is to fulfill on my visions and my dreams. And so whether that's just a really material dream like get a car or a house, or even if it's a spiritual dream like raise my consciousness or make a difference to children or to whatever, that we unconsciously understand that the purpose of life is to fulfill on those visions. So let's imagine in a moment we've received a vision, I want to make a difference to children in Africa, and that vision comes to me and I feel energized and excited, and then my mind then takes over and believes the purpose of that vision was to make sure that I make that happen in the world. And what happens then is the creative gift of that vision gets diluted. So if we can shift the consciousness from that notion of life is to get there to really embracing that life is here right now, then we can understand that those visions that we receive, those creative possibilities, may or may not be fulfilled, and their purpose isn't to be fulfilled, but their purpose is to alter and shift and impact us right now. And the big part of my work is assisting many people to find that vision and let it impact them and shape their actions right now. And if we can do that, then that vision is fulfilled. And then if the vision comes again and again and again, maybe we go to Africa and we build those schools or whatever it is that we're called to create. But it's the fundamental knowing that creation is in the now, and any vision you receive is a gift from your divine creative consciousness in this moment. There is nowhere to get to, but there is a creative possibility that's opening us ever and deeper to the creative power of who we are. So I could go on about the shifts for hours here, but I wanted to just keep this video short. It might be the first time you're meeting me. So I hope in me sharing a little bit of this work, you can get a sense of that the shift from the I to the vessel, to being a true, empty shell for the glorious of life to use. If you're on this path and this work resonates for you, then put your name in the email box below, and I'll send out my free book, The 7 Keys to Living and Creating from the Heart. And I will also be continually sending out videos and meditations all around this dynamic tension between the resting in the stillness and allowing the creative impulse to shape us and the world. So thanks for this moment with you, and may you live and create from your heart.